Yo, what's up guys? How's it going? Arekkz here, and welcome back to another video for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Only today I am joined by the one and only Alex from NintendoLife. How you doing, buddy?
Hello there, lovely people. I'm very well, thank you. I'm very glad to be back on here again.
It's good to have you, it's good to have you. So today we are talking about survival, talking about items that you must have. Zelda is one of those games, or Breath of the Wild especially, is a game with so many items, resources, weapons, shields, bows, armor sets, just so much stuff to collect. Can be quite daunting. However, there are a few select items that we have put together, items that we believe are super important and you should kind of prioritize above everything else, things that are kind of imperative to your survival. In fact, if you look back to the classic Zelda when it was like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. Consider this your it's dangerous to go alone, take this list. So, let's go with that, let's go with that. But we're going to start off at number 8 with... This one actually comes from you, Alex. What is it? What is number 8?
It does indeed, yes. It is the mighty bananas, and more specifically, mighty simmered fruit made from exactly 5 of those sods. 5 bunches of bananas. In fact, the proper name for a bunch of bananas is a hand of bananas. So you need 5 hands of bananas, and you chuck them in a pot. You don't do anything else to them, just chuck them in, and you end up with mighty simmered fruit. Now, this may sound like a little bit superfluous, but this thing gives you a massive increase to your attack potential.
It does, yeah.
And it lasts for an incredibly long time. The boost lasts for about 4 minutes and 10 seconds or something vaguely around that time.
That is the one, that is the one.
Yeah, and if, you know, sort of if you're going up against a big boss or something, it's absolutely imperative that you get something that is going to give you that lovely, lovely boost. And there's nothing better than this. It lasts a long time. It's very easy to make because mighty bananas are fairly easy to come across. Yeah. You just get them from the Yiga clan and stuff like that. And you just chuck them in, job's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the best things. I mean, they're almost as common as apples, so you will literally, you can probably find that every single person in the game will have them. So, yeah, it's an easy thing to, and as you say, and you know, once you come across the Yiga clan, like, every single one you defeat drops bananas. So, yeah, it's a great thing to have. You know, it might only give you 5 hearts, but in truth, you don't eat this for the hearts, you're eating this for the attack boost. So, yeah, this is
No, exactly,
this
yeah.
is for sure. Like, if you're going to go up against anything, like, if you guys struggle fighting Lionel or anything, pop a mighty simmered fruit before you go in, and it'll make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Oh, you can say that again.
Moving on to number 7, Octo Balloons. Now, this one is a little bit of kind of an unconventional one, but they have so many uses. We've kind of covered this in fact, I think we've both spoken about this in various videos and whatnot. They're super easy to come by. You get them from Octorocks, and they typically drop anywhere from sort of like 2 to 3, and then you can tie them to various things. You can tie them to rafts, you can tie them to bombs, you can tie them to weapons. So like if a bokoblin drops his weapon, you put a balloon on it, it'll fly away. So loads of things like that, super useful. You can't sadly tie them to animals, but you found out the other day you can put a horse on a raft, right?
You can. It's not straightforward, but there will be a video hopefully coming out soon where I show you how to do just that. You put a horse on a raft, you lift it up with some octo balloons, and it doesn't get very far, but it's extremely amusing.
Awesome. Well, if that video is live by the time this video goes up, then I will link that down below as well. But the point is, the octo balloons are very useful, especially for like bombs. I think one of the simplest, like most useful things for for bombs, you know, you tie it to a bomb, then you can kind of use a Korok leaf to blow it towards an enemy camp. It means you can kind of engage enemies from a distance, and often if you do it from far enough away, they don't even know where you've come from. So they're super easy to farm. I recommend always carrying them with you because one of the other uses later in the game, there'll be like heavy slabs that you have to move, and of course you can use the Stasis rune to do this, but it's a little bit kind of finicky, and it also means you tend to damage your weapons. So you can actually tie, despite the fact it's a tiny balloon, you can tie a balloon to a slab, picks it up, job done. So a very useful item to have.
I want to know where they're getting the helium from, to be honest, because that's hard enough to get these days when we've actually got the technology. Maybe it's a Sheikah trick.
I reckon it is. I reckon the Sheikah just sit there and just inhale helium, and they're just like, hello! But moving on from there to a very useful item, something that might seem like a common idea, but something that is ultimately one of the most useful items.
It's arrows. Now, this sounds like, as you said, such a simple, you sort of think, oh, well, obviously arrows are important, but you don't know how important they are until you find out that you don't have any.
Yes.
And, you know, you don't want to be using your fire arrows or your ice arrows or anything like that. You don't want to waste those, because those things, they're sodding expensive, to say the least, aren't they? But you just want to have as many arrows as you can. If you're passing through Kakariko, or, you know, you just happen to be dropped into Hateno, you know, village or something like that, Go to the shop and get as many arrows as you can. Seriously, every opportunity to get arrows, because you'd be amazed how quickly you can chew through those things, especially if you're going up against things like Guardians. And yes, you know, sort of you can use the more powerful arrows, but to be honest, I think it's a lot better to just, you know, shoot a normal arrow in their eye, because mainly what you're doing there is you're stunning it. You don't want to waste your good arrows, because you need to save those for more specific circumstances. And when you get later on in the game, you're going to be coming across Guardians an awful lot, so you're going to need as many arrows as you can get into your little quiver, which I don't even know what the maximum is. I've had well over 100 in the past though, so you can have a lot.
Yeah, but it's true though. You do go through them. I mean, there was that time when I was basically just sort of trying to collect all the amiibo outfits, and obviously that occasionally drops arrows. And I ended up with about 150. I thought, oh, I'll be set for ages. I was soon through them. But yeah, I mean, to echo that point, grab them whenever you can. Even simple things like if you're walking past a bokoblin camp and you think, you know, I don't need to fight them. If there's an archer, just kill him anyway. You don't have to kill the rest of them, but like typically you kill archer types, they drop 5 arrows. Anytime you can, just grab them, because I was genuinely in a situation the other day on my epic quest to complete all of the 120 shrines. I got to a shrine, needed arrows, and genuinely didn't have any, or didn't have the arrows that I needed, and was like, So yeah, these are so important. Again, it might seem like an obvious theme, but genuinely, arrows are probably more important than your weapons.
They are in a way, yeah, because they have so many applications, and you can always find another weapon. You know, if you kill a bokoblin, even if you're just picking up a boko club or something like that, it's still a weapon that you can use. Arrows, however, are a lot harder to come by, so make sure you got a full quiver so that you don't quiver under pressure.
Hey, I like it. But moving on from there to number 5 is getting yourself a fast horse, and by fast I mean high stamina horse, let's say, because early on in the game you can tame a horse. Typically the spotted horses are easier to tame than the kind of single color horses, but there will come a point in the game later on, in fact you can do it very early on, where there's a quest called the Royal White Stallion. This might already be the giveaway. It's actually an outskirt stable in central Hyrule, but it will lead you to go and get Zelda's horse, which is this White Stallion, and it has 5 stamina nodes. Now if you get this early in the game, it's going to make your life incredibly easy. I appreciate fast travel is a very kind of big thing in this game. People fast travel a lot, but when it comes to exploring the world or going around doing things that aren't necessarily too near shrines, then having a horse is incredibly useful. So I would definitely recommend getting this as early as you can. You will need about 2.5 stamina wheels to tame this.
It really takes a lot of stamina. I was really surprised when I did it, because I did it only shortly before this video, because you mentioned it, and I thought, well, I better know my stuff before I come on here.
Exactly, yeah. But what I would say is if you want to get it early on, because of course everyone starts with 1 full stamina wheel, you can then sleep at the slightly more expensive inns. The ones that cost you 80 rupees will always give you a second complete stamina wheel. And what you can actually do is if you combine to make some food that gives you stamina back, worst case scenario, during the part where you're riding the horse, you can open the menu, eat some more food to give you a little bit more stamina back. So you can, technically speaking, do it early on, even if you don't have that much stamina.
You just need to have the right items.
Exactly, yeah. But if you do that, then yeah, you'll be set. If ever you need to run around, then it's just got 5 nodes, so you can constantly get that quick speed boost, and it'll make your life a lot easier. Moving on from there to number 4, what do we have next?
We have a little thing called fairies. Now, these things have been a staple in the series for as long as there's been a series, as far as I know, and they are so useful in this game, and thankfully they're fairly easy to find. You just need to go to the right places. The right places being, well, primarily fairy fountains, unsurprisingly. And you can get about, you know, sort of 5 or 6 fairies, and gone are the bottles. You don't need bottles to hold them anymore. You just stick them in your pocket, and they can hang around with all the restless crickets and apples that you've got in there as well. And when you, just like in previous games, if you die, well, I say die, if you lose all your hearts, the fairy will pop out, go whee, and if you go up against something tough and you don't have much in the way of defense or healing items, or you're just stuck in a bit of a tricky situation, you're going to be going through those fairies pretty quickly, and they are such a literal lifesaver, to say the least.
Yes, yeah, they are. But moving on from there to number 3, the HYLIAN shield. This is so useful, right? Now, to give you some context, most shields in the game have durability ranging from anywhere from 10 to about 50 for some of the best shields. The HYLIAN shield has durability of 800. This thing is so good. You can basically sit there and block Guardian lasers. Most shields will be destroyed with 1, maybe 2 blocks. This, you can just you can block a good sort of 10, 15, maybe 20 lasers, And it also has 90 parry power, so it's got the highest parry power like in the game compared to other shields. So it's a very good weapon to have. It's a very good shield to have. You can get it very early on in the game anyway. In fact, you can get it at any point. It'll be a little bit harder to do early. But if you can get it, then it means that anything you kind of do beyond that point will be significantly easier. I actually didn't get it until post-game, so I kind of missed the uses for it, so I now use it as a glorified surfboard. But I feel like I'm disrespecting the series by surfing on the Hylian shield, but you know what? It makes a great surfboard. And yeah, if you can get it, then it's going to make your, especially if you are kind of struggling with combat or you're, say, new to combat, then taking single-handed swords, hiding behind a shield gives you a lot more defensive capability than, say, going with something else. So, highly recommend that one.
You HYLIAN recommend that one.
Hey, this is brilliant.
I have to wholeheartedly agree. I know about the shield. I haven't got it just yet, but it is important to say that it does not last forever. It does have 800 durability, as you say, but that will still not last forever, and it can be destroyed. So what happens if it gets destroyed? Well, I know. You can buy it back.
Yes, you can. Yeah, you buy it from Tarrytown.
You can indeed. You have to do the from the ground up quest from the start to the finish, but then you can buy it back at your leisure. Only thing is, I believe it is rather expensive.
It is, yes. Everything that guy sells is expensive. He's a flippin' extortionist.
He is rather. Not quite as extortionist as the final fairy fountain though that asks for 10 grand.
Oh yeah. I haven't bothered with that one. I'm like, you know what? She can stay there.
Oh, you should definitely bother with it because you can max out your gear then.
I will do soon. That's my next thing on my completionist kind of run after I get all the Korok seeds. However, moving on from there to the next one, we're talking armor now. Number 2. What do we have?
We have the climbing gear. Now, this was the climbing hat. Is it the climbing hat or the climbing cap or bandana or something like that? It's a thing you wear on your head. It was one of the first sort of more sort of interesting armor items that I found in the game. And I found it really early on. Yeah. And I thought to myself, climbing up, what's this do? And I was like, oh my giddy arse. It's just making me climb really, really quickly. And that is so, so useful. But when it really comes into its own is when you get 2 boosts on each item of clothing of the climbing gear, and it decreases the amount of stamina that climbing uses. And
exactly.
It means you can climb anything. As long as it's not raining, you can climb anything.
I wish there was something that would allow me to climb in the rain, because, that stuff is really annoying.
I'd like it if it was just like suction cups,
Yeah, that would be cool. Maybe you get the rubber set. That would make sense, but no, alas it's not. But yeah, to kind of like to reinforce that and to clarify with everyone as well. Yeah, every most complete armor sets in game, if you go to the fairy fountain, can be upgraded multiple times. Once you hit level 2 on the complete set, then you unlock the climb stamina boost as well. So that's super useful. Not only do you climb faster, but it also costs less stamina. So if you were one of the people that kind of wanted to favor hot over stamina, then you could basically kind of like get the benefit of stamina for climbing without having to actually kind of invest into it. So something to consider, definitely.
But I think you should probably, sort of reorganize your priorities because, sort of putting hearts over stamina is just a fool's errand, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that annoys me is that when you get to the end is like the kind of OCD part of me, the fact there's 3 hearts that can't quite be filled in is a little bit annoying, but alas.
Who knows? We've got the expansion pass.
True.
So who knows what more could be coming.
I hope so. But I completely agree. Stamina all the way.
Stamina.
However, moving on to number 1. This is an item that I use so much. I probably use it equally as much as my weapons because you can kind of use them part in part, like hand in hand. But that is the Stasis upgrade. Now, when you first get the Stasis rune, it's useful, but you probably won't use it a great deal, and you'll think, you know what, that's fine, but I'm not really worried about it. However, later in the game, when you go to Hateno Village, the Hateno Lab, you can actually upgrade 3 of your runes. The bombs, which are useful, but I didn't necessarily upgrade. I didn't find the upgrade too useful. There's the tracker, and then there's Stasis. And the upgrade for Stasis allows you to freeze enemies. This is a game changer. For any of you guys that have said, I struggle with the Lionel, have you got any tips for fighting them? Yes, you can use Stasis on them. It doesn't last too long, but one of the easiest ways to fight a Lionel is honestly let it run towards you just before it hits you, freeze it with Stasis, run around the back and do a charge attack on it. That'll stun it. You then kind of keep attacking it for a little bit, you run away, you freeze it again, and it just makes a lot of enemies in the game that would potentially give you some trouble a kind of walk in the park.
It's a really useful item, and I must admit, I didn't even pay attention when I got the upgrade. I just thought, well, it's going to be like all the others. It's just going to make it last a bit longer. And I think it does make it last marginally longer by like half a second on standard, like rocks and things like that. It was only until you told me that you can use it on enemies, and it just really reinforces how important reading is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, well, the thing is, there's so many things in this game. This is like, part of the purposes for this video. Like, there are so many items in this game. It's kind of, I mean, it was you that told me about the octo balloons, right? Like, I collected them this whole time, and I never really used to read it to begin with, and then you mentioned this thing. So there are so many things that you definitely need to kind of like take the time to look at. But honestly,
definitely, yeah. And regarding the stasis rune as well, you've got to try it because I tried it a bit in one of my videos where I looked at 13 things you didn't know you could do. Really sort of nice, appealing title like that. In Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, is just putting octo balloons on things, and I think I did that 3 times because there are so many different things you can do with that. You can put them on a raft to make a raft fly. And I actually, sort of tried using a stasis on it, and that keeps it in place so you can actually do it much more effectively. And then I went and watched one of your videos and discovered you worked it out before me.
Hey man, I'm the stasis ambassador. I was like, if the Sheikah Slate was to sponsor me, you can get a stasis discount code. But one of the other useful things as well with that is, this isn't actually tied to the upgrade. This is just the basic one. But if ever there's a bokoblin that picks up a explosive barrel to throw at you, if you freeze the barrel, then the bokoblin goes to throw it, and then he looks all confused because he's like, "Wait, where's it gone?" But the barrel's just stuck above his head. I love play. You know what?
That's
I think
fantastic.
one of my favorite things. Yeah, I think one of my favorite things in this game is just messing around with bokoblin because they're like poor little guys, right? They get so confused when you mess with them, and they're just like, honestly. Maybe that's another video. But either way, for the time being, those are some items that you guys should find useful. Or there are 8 items that we think, above all else, you should definitely have in your inventory at all times. However, this is also part of a kind of 2-part video series we've done, where there was a top 10 weapons video we did over on NintendoLife, which you can find a link down below. You can, of course, find the channel link down below, and the video specifically. So if you guys want to take a look at what we think are some of the best weapons in the game, then definitely check that out.
Here's a spoiler. The Arekkz in there.
It is, yeah, that is a blinder of a weapon. Some of you guys may think, what the hell are you talking about? Believe me, you need to watch that video because the Arekkz is a game changer when you realise how to use it. It's like, with great power comes great responsibility.
And great Arekkz.
Yeah, exactly, and great Arekkz. But thank you very much, Alex, for joining me. It's been awesome to have you on again.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to appear on your wonderful channel.
No problem at all. And as always, as mentioned, you can make sure you can find all the links down below to the video, the channel, and also Alex's Twitter as well. So definitely check out all of those. NintendoLife, of course, do loads of Nintendo videos, loads of Zelda stuff, and more just Nintendo stuff in general. So if that's your thing, definitely check them out. But for the time being, thank you for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to hit that like button. Comment down below. Let us know if there are any items that you guys particularly like, maybe things we didn't necessarily mention, things that you guys think are must-have items. And for the time being, take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.